Hello everybody. Let's make some cards. We're going to be making the Cosette cards, and we're going to start with card number 1. We're going to do it the close to my heart way first, and then we'll do it the Barbara way. So let's do a little prep. You're going to need this little piece of toffee paper, and we're doing the light side, and then you're going to need this stamp set. Make sure that the word Paris is at the top, and this stamp set, and this long non-readable sentiment there. And we're going to use toffee on toffee, so tone on tone is always a great look. So get your toffee out. I might be out of the camera. I'm trying to do more of a close-up for you guys this time. Let's start with the long, indecipherable word. So you're not going to see me necessarily inking up things because I wanted to get a little bit closer because of its card. So down at the bottom, go ahead and stamp that word. Got my sponge out today instead of using the other side of the Versamat, which is always a great option. And then we're going to do the Paris stamp, also in toffee, up at the top right. And the little postage cancellation stamp. And that goes kind of slightly touching it. Supposed to look like a letter, I guess. All right, set that one aside. The other prep is for the yellow piece. Close up your toffee and get out your honey butter. Again, tone on tone, which is a look I really like. And this is going to be the same, I think, let me see, same thing, stamp set. Yeah, that same Paris stamp set, but we're gonna do it all over it and a random way. So clean your stamp. Now, I forgot to tell you to go ahead and rub your stamps on. Hopefully you guys know that by now, to season those. Mine are all very seasoned because I've made all these cards, so I may forget to tell you that. So here we go. Remember now. Get your honey butter, and we're just doing random stamping. So the first one goes down. For random stamping, you kind of go in a triangle. So I'm making what would be a triangle if I was to draw lines between it. Once you've done that, you kind of go in as these 2 points, and then another triangle. So that would be a triangle there, right? If you do this, random stamping looks better. Now, you don't always want to make it exactly the same. You see my Paris is a little bit over to the right this time, a little bit over to the left. You don't want to, because it's supposed to be random, you don't want it to always be perfectly in lines. That's going to look very not random. So this one's going off the page, but it would still be a triangle. So that's the kind of the way you do random stamping. And then I've got a little spot up here. I'm just gonna add just a tiny bit there. So like that, okay. Clean your stamp. I'm gonna clean all of these so I don't have to clean them later. All right, I've got my chamois, does the work fast. All right, and then the next prep is the Just Because, and this is going to be black. And then we're going to distress the edges with toffee. So let's do black first. Stamp it, and then we'll get out a sponge. And this one is going to be Just Because. All right. And that can just go right in the middle. And it must be that Close to My Heart had the same idea as me when they saw their paper that they made to really make it look kind of aged. We're just going to take it to the extreme on the second card. But get your toffee out again and a sponge of some sort. You can also use this kind. And we're just going to rub that on the edges to make it look more aged. Now, one of the things you can do with this, and you'll see that we do with the next card, is you could just do that to all the pieces in the whole card. I don't know why they have just do just one, because it would really look better with all of them, but we're gonna do that in the next card anyway, along with a lot of other techniques. So set that aside. And then I think that is all we have for the prep. So now we can put together our card, get your card base out, and some adhesive. You're gonna need definitely some kind of glue pen for this one, because I'm gonna put my lighting a little better. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of shadow. Look at all that shadow. Let's see if that helps. Because we're gonna be working with this really tiny fake ribbon here. So you're really gonna need some kind of a glue pen. Okay, let's start with upper left. I always like to start with a fold side, because the fold side is not something you can trim. So you wanna get that side right. And you can always trim off the other edge instead, a lot easier. And just get that flush with the left. And then the yellow honey butter. So we're only a few months away from our virtual convention, so we'll be getting some new colors. I'm excited. Now, I cut mine a little short, so I'm gonna leave the gap here instead of at the bottom of the card. Like that. And then upper right is this toffee piece. So I'm excited to see what new colors. I think we need a new purple, so I'm hoping for that. And I think we need a new red. And again, I cut this a little short, so the gaps will all be in the middle, and that will look just fine. And then here's our last piece here. If you'd like that other side, you can use that too. Remember, these are only suggestions that I'm giving you. And I'm gonna just put that down, flush with the right-hand side. Okay, and then here's where we're gonna use this glue. So I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, so let me use this envelope. And I'm just gonna turn it on the roughed up side. The smooth side is the side that that you cut on your embossing machine. And you're gonna need, try to, you know, put a decent amount of glue, because this is not gonna wanna stick. Just because it's so skinny and everything, it's just, you know, it's not gonna wanna stay down. It doesn't have the weight of the paper to do it. And then it looks like they've just put this about, oh, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch from the right side of that yellow paper. And then I'll just follow this line on the pink up here to kind of keep it straight. That pink paper has a nice little line there. And mine's a little short down at the bottom and a little tall at the top. So try to adjust as needed. To me, that's not gonna make a difference, so I'm just gonna leave it there. Okay, on this next part, I made a mistake. Should have followed the directions of Close to My Heart, but you wanna put the tag down first and then build your ribbon on top of it. You'll hear me talking about, you know, how I built some of it on top and some of them on the bottom, but in the long run, it looks better if you build all the ribbons and all the loops of the ribbon and the strings of the ribbon on top of the tag. So put your tag down first. And then this is the very, very odd die cut that they did this time. It works and it looks great with the thing, but it is a kind of, you know, all of this skinny stuff. And you're overlapping it, and because it's skinny and doesn't like to sit down, it's kind of hard to get it to, because you're overlapping, you know, and so it doesn't like to not be laying flat. So put that down. And then the other big piece, again, try to get a good amount of glue. And that I just put the circle on the circle. I figured that's what you were supposed to do. Now, because we're going to do that same thing with the smaller, oops, see, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. It doesn't like to stay down. So one of the things you can do is like lay this, and this is when I made these initially and didn't have to rush because I'm doing a video. I laid my blocks on them as they dried. So I'll just kind of press it hard because I don't want you guys to have to wait for that. So since we have these two pieces that we're going to put on top of them, I'd rather these go over the strings that hang down because the strings aren't very attractive. So whenever I can, I'm going to hide these strings so you just don't see this pile up of elements here. I'd rather have these two little circle things showing than the strings. So one of the strings goes to the right off of that center piece. This is where the overlapping is kind of a pain. So you put it on that center piece, that circle that the bow makes, and we just start piling these up. So it is it's an odd die cut, but it does look nice in the end. But I miss real ribbon. Wouldn't that have been fun? So I won't tell if you go ahead and use some of the ribbon from your stash instead. I won't tell. But since they don't sell a lot of ribbon, they're making die cuts. The other thing I want to put in here before I put those final two on is the tag. So I'm going to put that right where that circle is. Again, the circle, this is the circle I'm talking about right there. So I'm going to just put that on there, and this will stay down a lot easier. So let me get some regular adhesive. And just put that right over that circle because I'm going to put these over it. It looks like they might have done the bows, all the bows over it, but I think this will be fine to do this. So I think on theirs, they did do, I think this one goes here. I think they did all the bows over the tag, but I think this will be fine this way. So if you're a step behind me and you want to do it that way, you can. Where all the bows are over the tag, but how was, this is not going to be noticeable to do it this way. And let me get the block to kind of hold that for a minute. And down here, see, little things do not like to stick. So, I'm gonna put this one on, right there lining up all those circles. And then just set that down there. All right, and that's it on that. So that card is done. Let me show it to you, and then I'll put this back on. So that's what it should look like, except if you want to put both the bows on the top. All right, so I'm gonna set that aside and let that dry. And then we'll move on. Oops, there's one more thing I forgot. I forgot two more things, actually. There is this little tiny piece, and this I didn't feel was necessary, which is probably why I forgot it. But this piece is supposed to go on top of those circles. So let me go ahead and put it on there. But no, it's not really necessary. So you could totally skip that. So I'll just kind of lay it. Where do they have it? Let me see if they've got it. I guess they've got it vertical. Why it matters, I don't know. But, so we could put it, I don't think it looks very good vertical. That would be vertical. What do you guys think? I think horizontal looks better. So I think I'm gonna stick to horizontal. And you guys can make your own decision on that. And then I forgot, we do have this little tiny flower to put on the tag. And I'm just gonna put one dot and put the center of the flower over that dot. No need to try and get all of those. So there we go for the first one. Let's move on to the next. Okay, card 2. we're gonna do a few extra things just because I like it. So if you didn't see my video, when I saw this paper and saw these cards, I thought that it would just look really good to super distress them and to make them look as if they'd sat in a drawer being taken out and handled and put back and aged, and one time you accidentally put a cup on it, you know, and it has a water ring, that it sometimes got tore, you know, because you loved this card so much, and or that you know, you accidentally got your fingerprints on it and stuff. I wanted it to look super aged. This is a matter of taste, and I know that you think, oh well, the person who gets it, you know, might think this is weird and stuff. And let me show you the actual finished card here. But I don't think they would. I think that they would appreciate the look of it. But if you, we're going to go through a few different steps, and you can choose whether you want to do quite a bit of the distressing or a little or none at all. If you want none at all, we just made that card. Okay. So let's play with this, and you're going to need some kind of a sanding thing here, sandpaper. You're going to need your toffee shimmer brush. You're going to need some kind of a distressing tool as far as scissors, or I use this. Close to my heart, doesn't make them any more, but you can find them. Either one of these, I'll show you with both. And you're going to need to have your sponge and some toffee ink with this. And we're just going to do quite a bit of different things on this particular card, and then we're going to do a couple other techniques on the upcoming ones. So let's do our prep first, which is, we'll start with this one, and then we're going to do a little distressing on it too. But first we need to do the stamping. So get your toffee ink and your Paris stamp, Paris upright, and do the upper corner. You're going to notice that this is already got that distressed look. That is a perfectly stamped stamp. It is meant to look like that so that it's fading away. Get this one too. The words that you can't read. And then the postmark. This is bringing back some nice memories of my little trip to France last year. I am going again. I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I'm going to go again next year because my husband wants to go to Normandy for the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Not my thing, but I said, you know, if I go with you, we must go to Paris again. And because I didn't get to go up in the Eiffel Tower, and I didn't get to do the Louvre. Wash this before you put it in honey butter. And I didn't get to see Notre Dame or Notre Dame. And I would like to take him up to the Arc de Triomphe again, which I did get to do. Okay, so the Paris stamp, honey butter, random stamping again. So a long time ago, when we were young and poor, my husband's aunt took us all to the Galapagos, including my kids, with a company called Road Scholar. It's not the same thing as what you think of as Road Scholar. This is actually a company that does tours. And we just happened to get a brochure from them in the mail recently. And so we're kind of looking at what they have on their Paris, Normandy type of tours and stuff, because they do so much educational stuff. Not this, but we're going to need the tag, and you're going to need your black ink. So we're kind of looking into that, because having somebody who can speak the language take you around, that's good for me. All right, now you're going to need your sentiment, which was the Just Because. And no, we don't have a lot of money. We just put all of our money into trips and not into nothing else, basically, except maybe some concerts. So, you know, that's what we spend our money on. All right. Now, that we're going to distress, like they said, but we're going to distress everything. So let's start with first, I want to do just some ink distressing. We're going to need your toffee. Ink distressing around every single piece. So get your toffee out. And we're just going to ink distress every single piece because paper, as it gets older, gets worn looking, right? And this is one of the things that, you know, is sort of mimicking that. So every single piece, including the ones we didn't stamp on. I'm gonna do a little bit of toffee. Remember when we used to do this all the time? It was so much fun. I always loved this look. I know some people still continue with it, and sometimes I do, depending on the paper, but this paper is perfect for doing this kind of inking around the edges. Now you don't have to do the ribbons because they're black. All right, like that. All right, now let me take a look at what kind of distressing I did on this. I know for the first thing, the little postcard piece is what I gotta think of as it. I did some sanding on. So I'm gonna just take that and my sandpaper. This is gonna make a terrible noise, so sorry. And I'm just gonna sand it because our paper has that nice white core. And so some of that white's gonna come through. Sorry about the jiggling. Again, I'm trying to make this look very worn. All right. Messy. Okay. So that piece is sanded. I didn't do anything to this piece. And I didn't do anything to this piece other than ink the edges. And, oh wait, did I? Yeah, oh, we are gonna do something, but not as far as sanding. This was the other piece that I sanded. Did I, maybe I did sand a little bit on that pink, now that I'm looking at it. So, just want to sand enough so that you see some of that white coming through. You have to use a rougher edge. We used to sell these a long time ago too, which was awesome. And I actually think I am going to sand a little bit of that pink, but I won't sand the print because I don't think it's going to show up much. Be careful because you can rip easily when you're sanding. That looks all nice and scratched. And then on the just because. And don't sand the words off. Yeah, see how that looks around the edge? Oh, awesome. Let me get my chamois. Okay. Then the other thing I did was the scissor distressing. And here's how you do it. And you got to be gentle. But like this. You're just roughing up those edges. You don't want to rip it too much, but if you rip it a little bit, that's okay. Because I'll show you, I purposely did some tearing on the tag, I believe. So do that, or if you have an edge distresser, you just drag that along, and it does the same kind of thing. So whatever you choose, we're just roughing up those edges to make it look old, like really old, like, you know, 20 years old. This was some, you know, card that her very first boyfriend sent her, and she just never wanted to throw it away. Or it was from a great aunt who is gone now. And it means so much. And so it just stays in that drawer, and every once in a while you take it out and you look at it and you hold it and you read it, and still has her handwriting inside, you know. That's the whole feeling I was going for these cards. Usually I don't talk about that kind of thing, where most cards we're just making them for the artistic value, right? But this one, I just had this whole scenario in my head. All right, so those are all nice and thing. And then the other thing I did was I tore off a little bit of the tag like that. Okay, optional. All of this is optional. All right, now let's put this together. Oh, and yeah, at the end, we're also going to do a little of the shimmer brushing. So fold my card down a little better with a bone folder. So now, oh, there was another thing there's one more thing I forgot. And I need to cut it really quick because I forgot about this, but I wanted to I didn't like the stark white showing through some of this. So I am going to tear some more paper, and I didn't want the stark white of the card to show through. I wanted to have the soft French vanilla. So I forgot to cut that, and I'm gonna go grab that real quick, and then we'll continue on, and we are gonna rip a few more of these pieces. So here's my French vanilla, and we're gonna have it show just slightly. So since we are, let's take the toffee ink, and you probably have enough on your sponge just to go around the edges of this real quick. And then the other thing I want to do is just distress it a little bit on two sides, I guess, but just gently, not too much on this. Okay, then let's glue it down. All right. Oop, did I cut it right? I didn't cut it right. I thought I cut this the right size, and I sure didn't. So let me grab another one. Oh my goodness. How did I miss that? I just cut it 2 seconds ago. That's all right, you guys. Hopefully gonna wait for me for a second here. That's better fit. I gotta distress real quick again. All right. And just a little bit up the sides and distressing. All right, now we can put it down. This kind of card making gets a little messy too. There's a lot of dust. All right, put that on there. And my paper's still slightly off, so put that over just a touch. The adhesive is sort of forgiving. All right, and because, see how I've got this edge behind it a little bit? You know what? In this card, it's not gonna matter. So all I'm gonna do is distress the actual base of that card too, so that it will look like I wanted it that way. Okay, the other piece I forgot, we got two other pieces we're gonna tear just a little bit. This one, just tear a chunk out, rip it towards you. That leaves the white, which is nice. And then on this one, I just tore a little bit out of the side, just to look like it'd been sitting there for years. Let's just start putting this on. You could, if you wanted to, you can distress that like that or not. It looks fine with that white. And we're just gonna put that like that. Now, because these have all been roughed up, there are going to be gaps between them because they're not of the same size anymore. So there'll be nice little gaps too, which is just a whole other beautiful layer of coolness to these cards. I think these might have been my favorite card workshop I have ever done, just because of this whole look and stuff. Out of all the card workshops over all these years, this is right up there for sure. And I'm just going flush with the edge of the card base. And see, now we've got that showing, so I'm gonna do even a little bit more distressing there. And then we will wait on that because I wanna do a little of this first now. So if you're going to be spattering, You want to make sure this is wet. So sometimes if it's not wet enough, I will just squeeze it. Now with all of our shimmer brushes, you barely ever need to squeeze. So don't squeeze too, you know, really ever. The only time you're going to squeeze is if it really isn't, no color is coming out. And then you're going to do it separately on a scrap piece of paper to get it wet again, and then just leave it. And it should just be fine. So I'm going to just do some little bit of spattering on these. And if you want a bigger drop, then again on a separate page first, then you can, you know, you don't want too much to come out until you're ready. So that's enough for me. Now this really needs to dry a minute. So I recommend you pause this video for a second, and I will too, and we'll come back. Okay, dry enough. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get ink or get glue on this long piece. Remember, you wanna glue it well, because it's not gonna want to lie down. Okay, it's about 1/4 inch away from this gap. I mean, 3/8 of an inch away from the gap. Going straight up the page. And mine doesn't want to be very straight here. This is where, again, you could lay your block down on it to hold it. Mine's slightly crooked. But because the whole card is distressed, I'm not gonna worry about it. Press this down in here a little bit. See if that helps with the gluing. All right, now on the last card, we kind of went off script with the tag. So we're gonna lay the tag down the first spot here before the ribbons, and we'll do that. I remember now why I liked doing it the other way is because the tag adds more bulk that now all of these ribbon parts have to go over. So I'm just going to put it down like that. And then I'll give you the option when you're making your cards on whether you want to put everything under the tag or on top of the tag. But this time we're going to do it on top of the tag. So I'm just using that circle as my guide that's in the middle of the tag there. And everything's going to work off of that. So one leg of the ribbon. Oop, they're flying. And 2 legs of the ribbon. The more curvier part is the part that goes out. The curve there. And let me get it a little higher than the sentiment. Might be nice that they could read the sentiment. All right, then it doesn't really matter if you put the big hoops, not a hoop, loop, a big loop. All right, does anybody else as they get older find that words are coming out that are not the words you meant? Because that is happening to me too much. And you know, the first thing we all think is, oh my gosh, am I getting Alzheimer's? It's just the neurons that used to run have decayed. That's what's happening. And so that neuron to that word is not working as well as it used to. We're piling it all up with those circles. The knot, let's call it. And yeah, and so just some words won't come, either won't come or come out completely wrong. And I just have to remember that not everything means you have Alzheimer's. Sometimes it's just getting older. Okay. I don't think it matters on the 2 inner ones, which one goes to which side. I don't really think that matters. So I haven't been worrying about that. Look at that, does not want to stay. And And the last one here. And then we'll do that little piece, which hopefully hasn't disappeared. I do see it, so. Okay. And I'm gonna put that right there on. So now you've got all these layers right over the middle of that tag there, of that hole on that tag. And they all wanna pop up. So I'm gonna force them just for the purpose of this video, but what you should do is just pause it and let your stuff dry. And I'm gonna put this last little piece, which is totally unnecessary, I think. There. And you can put it vertical or horizontal, whatever you choose. Okay. So that's a well-aged card. We have one thing, a little flower, but that's definitely a well-aged card. I'll just put that flower right there. All right. And there's that. So let's look at the two together. I got this one and